The village of Black Hollow sat between a dead forest and a frozen river where the fog never fully disappeared. People locked their doors before sunset. Children were warned never to answer whistles in the dark. For years, everyone feared the ruins on the hill. Especially the girl who lived beneath them. Liana lived with her sick mother in a tiny wooden house near the edge of the forest. Every morning she carried water from the river, sold herbs in the market, and listened to cruel whispers from villagers. The cursed girl. The vampire watches her house. She'll disappear next. But Liana ignored them. She had no time for fear. Her mother's illness was growing worse, and winter was coming early. One stormy evening, while returning from the forest, Liana heard growling behind her. 3 wolves emerged from the fog. Their eyes glowed pale white. Liana stumbled backward, clutching her lantern. The wolves circled her slowly. One lunged. Then everything went silent. A dark figure dropped from the trees like a shadow. The wolves whimpered instantly. The man's eyes glowed crimson. Within seconds, the wolves fled into the forest. Liana stood frozen as rain poured around them. The stranger wore a long black coat soaked with blood and rainwater. His face looked unnaturally pale, almost beautiful in a terrifying way. "You should not walk alone at night," he said quietly. His voice sounded cold and ancient. Liana stepped back. "Who are you?" The stranger looked toward the ruined castle above the hill. "My name is Lucian." The moment he spoke his name, fear crawled into her chest. Everyone in Black Hollow knew that name. Lucian Valemont. The monster from the castle. The immortal vampire. Liana ran before he could say another word. That night she could not sleep. Every creak outside her window made her heart race. Yet beneath the fear, something else remained. Curiosity. The next morning, her mother's fever became worse. The village doctor demanded money Liana did not have. Desperate, she searched the forest for rare moon herbs worth selling in the city. Instead, she found herself lost near the ruined castle. The giant gates suddenly opened on their own. A cold wind escaped from inside. "Leave," a voice echoed. But Liana stepped forward anyway. The castle looked abandoned by time itself. Torn curtains swayed in darkness. Dust covered ancient portraits. Candles lit themselves as she walked deeper inside. Then she saw him standing near a fireplace. "Lucian, you should fear this place," he said. "I came for herbs," Liana replied nervously. "People say they grow near the castle." Lucian stared at her for a long moment. "People say many things." He handed her a small silver box filled with moon herbs. Liana blinked in shock. "Why help me?" For the first time, sadness crossed his face. "Because I remember what it feels like to lose someone." Days passed. Liana returned to the castle again and again. At first she only came for medicine. Then for conversation. Lucian told stories about kingdoms long destroyed, wars forgotten by history, and stars that looked different centuries ago. But he never spoke about becoming a vampire. Sometimes Liana caught him staring at old paintings with unbearable grief in his eyes. One snowy night, she finally asked, "Were you always alone?" Lucian remained silent. Then he whispered, "No." He showed her a faded portrait of a woman who looked almost identical to Liana. Her name was Serafina. Lucian loved her over 200 years ago before a jealous nobleman murdered her and cursed Lucian into becoming a vampire. Since then, Lucian had hidden himself away from humanity. "I could not save her," he said softly. "And everyone I loved after her died because of me." Liana's heart ached for him. "You're not a monster," she whispered. Lucian looked horrified by those words. "You know nothing about me." Suddenly his eyes turned blood red. His fangs appeared. He vanished across the room faster than human sight. A servant entered carrying a wounded rabbit. Lucian grabbed the animal desperately, fighting his hunger. Liana watched in silence as he trembled with self-hatred. I told you to fear me, he growled. But instead of running, Liana stepped closer and gently touched his hand. Lucian froze. No one had touched him with kindness in centuries. From that night, everything changed. Winter deepened. Liana and Lucian spent countless nights together in the candlelit castle library. They laughed, argued, danced to broken music from an ancient piano. For the first time in centuries, Lucian smiled again. And for the first time in her life, Liana felt truly seen. But happiness never survives long in cursed places. One villager followed Liana secretly to the castle. By morning, all of Black Hollow knew the truth. The villagers gathered with torches and weapons. Kill the vampire. Burn the castle. Liana begged them to stop, but fear had already poisoned their hearts. That same night, hunters surrounded the castle. Lucian prepared to leave forever. If I stay, they will kill you too, he said. You can't leave, Liana cried. I have spent centuries bringing death to those I love. Lucian touched her face gently. You were the only light I ever found. Before she could stop him, he disappeared into the storm. Liana searched for him for days. Then weeks. The castle became empty once more. Her heart shattered slowly with each passing night. Spring arrived. Her mother recovered fully, but Liana no longer smiled. One evening, while standing beside the river, she heard familiar footsteps behind her. She turned slowly. Lucian stood there beneath the sunset. But something was different. His eyes were no longer red. His skin looked warm, alive. Liana stared in disbelief. How? Lucian smiled softly. When I left, I searched for the witch who cursed me centuries ago. Before she died, she revealed the truth. The curse could only be broken by genuine love freely given to a creature believed beyond saving. Not obsession. Not fear. Love. Lucian stepped closer. My heart began beating again the moment you chose to stay beside me. Tears filled Liana's eyes. For the first time, Lucian's reflection shimmered in the river beside hers. Human again. Liana laughed through her tears and embraced him tightly as sunlight covered the valley. The villagers slowly abandoned their fear after seeing Lucian save lives during floods and harsh winters. Years later, children no longer feared the castle on the hill. Instead, they spoke of the mysterious couple who filled the once cursed halls with music, warmth, and candlelight. And on quiet nights, when fog rolled gently through Black Hollow, people claimed they could still see two figures dancing together near the castle windows. Not as monsters, but as proof that even the darkest curse can end when someone chooses love over fear.